Welcome everyone to the Sustainability Advisory Committee on May the 2nd at 7:25. Sorry for the late start, we're waiting on an extra member of our committee so that we have a quorum, but we'll get going and then come back to the areas that need approval for votes. So we've got a couple of apologies from Ryan and Adam who are unable to join us this evening. So we accept those. We'll move down to, do we need to discuss and vote on the single-use plastic?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We would end with a recommendation.
Okay, right. So let's move on to number 7 then.
Okay.
The subcommittee, which comprises of myself and Chris and Stacey, so one of the subcommittee was formed to look at the solid waste in Exeter and how it's collected and get information and data, and we put a document together. Hey. It's okay.
All right.
Hi. Thank you for joining us, Nina. It's okay. All right. Shall we finish off this, or should we?
Yeah, we'll keep going on this one.
Okay, we'll go on this. So the subcommittee has been tasked with just gathering data and information on how other towns also get rid of their solid waste and ways in which we can ultimately reduce the amount of tonnage that we as a town puts to landfill, because landfill space is decreasing, and also trying to encourage residents to compost more so that you get your organic and food waste going into composting, and then increasing the recycling and hopefully reduce the landfill solid waste. So after today.
And just to preface that too, we set it up into 3 basic steps, basically identifying and benchmarking what's happening now, what's the current state.
Yeah.
From that, after we collect that, to set some goals, to establish some things to shoot for, and then recommendations. Third step would be recommendations to meet those goals to present to the select board. So today was our first opportunity to get a chance to meet with the very, very busy people and very helpful people at DPW.
Yep. And we had a very, I would say, a good conversation and getting information on how the cost of the solid waste, the contract, talking about the contractors, and what is offered, and when there'll be a new, when that contract is up for renewal, and I think it's 2 years now, when it'll be up for renewal. So do you want to fill in with some information that we gathered?
Yeah, I would say, at the high end, there's a sense of the reality of the landscape is there are only a couple of players that offer these services. There's a 800-pound gorilla that dominates the global landscape on that, and they're our contractor, Waste Management. They're a publicly held entity that has shareholder goals to meet, and those goals are met by tonnage. The more tonnage, the more money, the happier the shareholder. That's really what it comes down to. And every effort that we've tried so far to find ways to reduce cost or reduce output or reduce fees on collection, anything like that, has been met with an equal and opposite charge somewhere else. So they're pretty committed to maintaining their levels. There's another locally owned, family-owned supplier nearby as well, which was outbid last time around, and that's up for bid again in 2 years. Right now, Waste Management, interestingly enough, handles a lot of other municipalities in our area, and they handle them in different ways. So other towns are working with them for recycling and solid waste collection and have different rules and things like that, all derived at in their municipality. But one of the things that we're not finding is that even across our county, there's no collaboration amongst the towns, so there's no efficiencies to be had, whether that's buying bins and sharing in the cost of that, or whatever the mechanisms are to pay for this and have it happen. One of the things we talked about when we looked at the single-use plastics distribution ordinance is, understanding the money, understanding that the town, just in what the town pays for fees is about $1.2 million a year to remove our solid waste and recycling. And, those fees only go up. They're scheduled to go up again in June by contract. And there's all sorts of ancillary fees that come along with that. And then there's the additional money that is funded by residents with blue bags, right? So that's as an offset.
As well as purchasing the blue bins.
As well as purchasing blue bins, right? So the other, and I think the sense that I took away from the meeting was that there's a sense of defeat in that we have very few options, that it's great to begin to outline goals for waste reduction and increasing composting and finding better markets for some of our valuable recycling. Not all recycling is invaluable. Some of it has value. And we heard about lack of cooperation for things like our corrugated and paperboard has a market, but our partner has not been helpful in providing collection storage that keeps it dry, and when it gets wet, it loses its value.
Right.
So despite repeated calls to them for help there, they've not been responsive. So even the places, those little bright spots where we could recoup some cost, we're finding it difficult. So, getting back to our objectives of kind of benchmarking where we are, how do we get here, what are the options, it's just informative to us to help start to shape some additional thinking and alternate thinking on how we get to a place where, even as the town grows, we can maintain or reduce the tonnage that we ship off. Interestingly enough, the competing bid, that outfit actually owns a trash to energy plant that's is certified for clean air, has air scrubbing and things like that. And when we look at reduced capacity in landfills and the fact that we likely won't see new landfills being opened, it opens our eyes to some other opportunities as well next time around. So we're going to continue our research on a long list of questions that we have, but they were super helpful.
Yeah.
And had just a huge tip of the hat to the team over there, because they are shorthanded and doing really good work. So
I have a couple of questions,
Yeah.
if this is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
sure.
So would we recoup the money if the cardboard weren't getting ruined?
Yes.
Yes.
That would up our take on it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this committee could make a suggestion to the select board to build covering
Sure.
at the upcoming town meeting, the warrant.
Sure,
And
certainly.
I would think that would be entirely appropriate.
Okay. Yeah.
And it would be an investment that would pay off over a few years, but it would pay off.
Agreed.
I recycle quite a bit of cardboard out there through my business.
Yeah.
And I'm often instructed by the attendant there, who's wonderful, to put it down below where it's covered in the recycling so that it doesn't get ruined.
Right.
But there's a lot that gets
There's a
ruined.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could just take responsibility as a town for covering that bin.
Certainly.
And that would be a great warrant article.
Yeah.
And I would push hard to get that on the warrant and get the other select board members to
That'd be great.
support it. That's low-hanging fruit. I think.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need Waste Management's help to do that. We can take responsibility for that. My second question is, the contract is 2 years off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be a major push of this committee to help inform that process over the next
Yeah.
2 years.
So I
It sounds
think-
like you're on the way to that.
So one of our takeaways was to try and meet up with the two key players, the waste management companies, just to find out, what their process is, what they offer, what they,
Yeah.
rough ideas, just that we understand. And then I think Jay at DPW was also sort of keen for the committee and, also with residents to be informed and be part of sort of grueling and asking, the waste management companies, of what we would like to see happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, any kind of citizen input or the sustainability committee's input, I think that would be really helpful. In the past, my experience was that it was pretty much negotiated by the town manager's office. They've got a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
And so they kind of built it for speed, and but to have citizens informing that process would definitely be helpful and might generate more savings for the town financially, as well as making us more efficient.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we shouldn't just look at those two players. We should also look at, what are the models of surrounding towns?
Exactly.
I mean, Rye has a state-of-the-art. You have to bring it there. Maybe that's not viable for this town, given that we've been picking up for so many years. But we should look at all.
At least
all
look
of
at
our
half of their
options.
process, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we should look at all of our options. So this is great that you're focusing on this, and I'm very interested in ways in which you can help inform the process over the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll keep everyone informed on our progress on all that. Hopefully we'll get things moving and collecting data, and also what towns are doing adjacent to us as well, and how they make things work. All right, so that was number 7. We'll skip back up to number 3. So thank you, Nina, for being the quorum.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
Glad
All
you're
right,
here.
we're glad you're here. Yeah, thank you.
We knew.
We did.
Like I have.
Nope, glad to have you.
Glad you safely sent it.
I was a little nervous going over the bridge, but
All right, so the minutes from the last joint meeting with the Energy Committee were held on the 4th of April. Were there any changes, comments to those who attended the meeting?
No, I'll move to approve the minutes from March.
Anyone second? Thank you. Approval of minutes. All right, we're going to skip on number 5 for voting in members to the key positions when we have Stacey, Ryan, and Adam joining us. We could volunteer them, but we won't. We won't do that. All right, so we'll come back to that one again. So moving on to the single-use plastic document for Exeter, the implementation and the next steps. So Kristen drafted the memo. Did you want to talk about that briefly, and then?
Go over it briefly. So, as we talked about at the last meeting, the direction from the select board was basically to propose a process. And so, I put together, some sort of an outline of how I think this can be implemented. The goal tonight is to get your endorsement for moving this forward to the select board, and hopefully adopted as a process by them. So what I had sent out, and I do apologize for not sending it. Oh gosh. Okay, yes. What I had. It's loud. Because it's echoing. But what I had sent out basically was a memo from myself to the town manager and the select members of the select board, and it includes basically 3 areas of focus: awareness and steps that this committee and myself can take to improve awareness for residents, permittees, and town departments. It addresses process, how the applications would be processed, how the single-use plastics policy would be implemented basically in terms of permitting, and then oversight, what the steps would be should individuals be unable, or should individuals not comply with the ordinance. Mm-hmm. So I am happy to step through that, but I don't want to take up additional time if you feel it's not necessary.
This was posted as an attachment, an inclusion in the packet for the meeting tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, it was not. No. Apologies, no.
No, it's okay.
I sent it to committee members. I
Okay.
can get it up on the website, though.
Yeah, maybe just walk through it real quick right now.
Yeah, sure. So under awareness, the steps that I proposed was an update to the town website. So we have a page there already. It pretty much talks about the proposed ordinance. It's a little dated because it was, I believe it was before the citizens petition. But it also has, in addition to the ordinance language itself, it has resources for, links so you could source alternative products that would be in compliance with the ordinance. So that would need to be updated, and that's a pretty simple fix, something I can do myself. We would send along a memo to all of the permittees from 2018 through 2023. That's tracked by Parks and Rec. And it was pretty easy to get that initially when I did the original survey, so I think I should be able to get that. Send the memo that was also included in your packet to them and also to town departments. And so that memo basically just summarizes the ordinance, summarizes the town vote, and provides a link to where they can access the website. And then just further spread awareness, we can post it on the town Facebook pages and website, and I think it would be helpful to do an article in the newsletter.
Yeah.
So that's the awareness component. Process basically involved amending 3 different permits. The first one is the permits that are issued by the Exeter Select Board. So whenever there's a special event or a food truck or something at Swayze Parkway, they need to fill out a form. All I did was, for that, I added a section that says, an acknowledgement section that says, I've reviewed town ordinance 24.0, and I acknowledge that single-use plastic food service items will not be distributed in association with this event. The other area, I spoke with James Murray, who's the health officer, and he issues 2 separate permits. One for a food vendor to the event organizer, and then a separate one to the individual vendors. So I did a similar thing for those where it's just a mention of that, the existence of that ordinance. Okay, so that is process. So it's basically revising the draft applications. And then all permitting and the processing of permits would occur as though it occurs today. It wouldn't be any change in process. It's just more of an acknowledgement of the existence of the ordinance. And then oversight, this is the same proposal that we had initially. It was basically our main focus is awareness and education. It's not punitive, but prior to 12/31/2023, if someone said, oh, someone's using single-use plastics at this event, then I would be sure the reporter was aware that we do have that time frame to use up existing stock, so they might just be in that transition period. But in addition, I would also reach out to that person or entity and inform them of the timeline. After the 31st, I would contact the vendor, be sure they're aware of the ordinance, talk through some product alternatives, see if I can help with sourcing, or and then should there be a second report for that same vendor, I would issue them a letter notifying them it's the second time this has been reported, and then a copy of that letter could go to the Exeter Select Board. That way, should the vendor, it doesn't involve rescinding their existing permit, but should the vendor apply again, the Select Board would be aware that they had had 2 instances where they were reported to use single-use plastics. For town departments, I just said that non-compliance among town staff would be shared, information about that would be shared with the town manager to determine the best resolution. So that is the memo to the town manager and Exeter Select Board. I talked through what the components of the memo to the individuals would be for awareness and the applications. So that is everything. Oh, no, that's not. The one other item that was a part of that packet was the kind of the one pager, and this would be included in all of the permits. This is something that I know the Arts and Culture Commission was really interested in having to be able to share with their vendors. James Murray, same thing. So basically, it's just a one pager. It talks about the ordinance. It has a QR code to get you back to the website, and my contact info if people have questions.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd say is, I saw that when it came through in the packet, which I was really excited about, because I think it's going to be a great tool, and also to have extra copies of that available, town manager's office, any place else you can find a permit, or inquire, even if it's town clerk, any place where you could have any inquiry about a permit. My only comment would be, and I didn't think of this before, would be to just make sure that in the memo that's listed in the process, that we would include that.
Yep, that's a great comment. Thank you.
I think it'd be also to have it at the library, so on the notice board, just so that people can read it, and also organisers like Team, Scott Ruffin, and them, whether they can have access to electronic copy of, like, in terms of the actual, that last page,
Yeah.
so that they can email them out to their vendors, and also have a couple of printed copies maybe for during the event.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your inclusion of the QR code, because it just allows us to continue to expand and update the website, and keeps driving people to the same place, so it's brilliant. Well, excellent use of that.
Yeah,
So then I think I'll amend the process to include the one pager with the memo that goes around to all permittees and staff.
another organization to reach out to would be the Independence Museum,
Yeah,
because some of that is, I think, permitted. I think they're going to go back to permitting closing off the street.
Oh, okay.
So give them a heads up.
Yeah.
I think those two are the two big organizations that do things.
So they hadn't previously received permits, but they will start to.
I think their plan is they had suspended the thing where they were closing off Water Street, or part of Water Street, but I think they're planning to do that again this year, so they will be permitted.
Okay.
And on Water Street with vendors.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
That's wonderful.
just a heads up.
And I guess once this is, I know we talked about like the senior centre and to work with them. So how should we sort of proceed with them in terms of helping them along?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the Meals on Wheels program.
Yeah.
So Nina had a great connection with them. I think it's just a matter of touching base and working through it. Remind me, I think they were pretty receptive. They just wanted to talk through what products might be available. Is that right?
Yeah, no, they were definitely receptive. But I think they need more, reach out and information and how they can, because it's a big undertaking for them.
It's countywide, right?
Yeah.
I think I wonder if it's useful to do like a presentation and show them what alternatives are available, and then go through that last page and show them that so they have that bit of information about going to the website and all the links that we have for that, and then seeing where and how changes could happen,
Right,
to work with them in partnership.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a longer process,
Yeah.
but any impact is great. So.
Yeah.
And I think the woman that I spoke to she was, I can't remember her exact title, but she definitely had people that she was reporting to. It didn't sound like she had, or she was making it seem as though she didn't necessarily have a final say. She was in agreement with it, but didn't really know how to approach it. So I think reaching back
Probably
out
reaching
to
back
them,
out to them.
and then figuring this, who is able to at least direct us to who would be able to make those changes. And
So able to, Are you able to do that? And then we
Yeah,
can.
I can get back in touch with her
And then we can. So work
I
that.
think it would be helpful to have, I don't know if she's involved in purchasing, but have a list of products that they use.
Yeah.
And what their cost per item is, so that we have a sense for what they're up against.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a model, and I think I shared it through, I don't know if it was Project Drawdown, but it was some organization that put together a model for Meals on Wheels programs.
Did you send that to me?
I believe I did.
Yeah, I think you did.
Their model involves continuing to use reusable containers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the product that they actually recommend is plastic. It's plastic reusable. It withstands whatever cleaning process they need to follow and all of that. But, once we know what this individual Meals on Wheels uses for products, I think it'll be easy to
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, and that also brings up something I'm now recalling too with our conversation. It's also educating the recipients of the products, right? It's not just, yes, it's packaging up the food, but then when it gets delivered to the homes, to the people, what is their understanding of, whether it's using reusable containers or,
Yep. Exactly.
and a lot of their food, the big part of it was it gets made on premise and then it has to stay warm.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a big,
Insulation issue, yeah.
yeah, so that was, I remember. But, yes, we certainly need to reconnect with them.
But I do think that, that can follow its own trajectory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just
Yeah.
continue
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
because we did build in the exception
Yeah.
in the ordinance.
So are we voting on going with this, with the changes to be presented so that?
Yeah, so let's noodle out a motion here.
Yes. Motion to accept the memo.
Yeah, motion, what's the title of the memo?
I would say to endorse sending this on to the town manager and select board as a process.
And then also, maybe in the motion, just reference the fact that you're going to request a spot on the agenda in the next few meetings to present this in person.
Okay. May I have a vote, please? Nina?
So-
Yes.
Yes?
Wait, so let's get our language right for the
Right.
motion first.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to get your language, and then you want to first,
Yeah.
or you want someone to move it, and then you want a second.
Second.
And then you want to take a vote.
It's a motion to move, to endorse the memo, to be presented to the town manager. And then the select board? Yeah, and then the select board. And to request a slot at the next or the one after select board meeting to present this.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Take a vote.
And then just ask, yeah.
Vote?
Favor?
All in
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, Kristen.
Well done.
For all the changes and everything that goes with it. Okay, so we had an update on the Help See clothes collection, which went well.
Yep, just for listeners at home and everyone, we worked with Helpsy, who's already working with the town, to engage Lincoln Street School for an Earth Week or Earth Month project. and they were wonderful. They agreed to drop some collection bins and work with Lincoln Street School's Green Team, which is a student and teacher partnership for sustainability projects and awareness in their community at school. They embraced it incredibly well. We went over there to walk them through it, and they were incredibly knowledgeable already and very much on board and fully understood the challenge with textile waste and embraced it very well. Students prepared posters and take-home materials to get families to, that week bring in stuff and fill those Helpsy bins, and it went very well. So they're looking forward to doing more of that in the future, and it was I would call it a success. So
That's great.
Did anyone take any pictures or any?
I'll have to check with Principal McCluskey. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
sure he probably did. He was very excited about it.
Because we can share that on the website
That'd be
and,
great,
and
yeah.
on the socials.
Yeah.
And as well as, it'll be great to hear back from Helpsy in terms of how much tonnage or pounds they collected.
Yes, and the upside for the school, of course, is that they
get money.
They get some money from that as well to use for other projects. So they were excited about that too.
That's cool. That's good. All right. We have the LY Festival coming up on the next Saturday, 13th of May, at 9 till 1.
10 to 1.
10 to 1. I'm not here, so I'm hoping that somebody from the committee can volunteer to be there, or do we have all the committees taking part, Kristen?
Yeah.
With tables and stuff?
Yep.
My additional question was, we had a couple of individuals who set up tables outside the town hall for on Earth Day. I wondered if they had been reached out to see if they wanted to have a table, because I think I saw them during Earth Day. I had a chat with them, and they had 3 or 4 tables, with a table full of books from the bookstore about sustainability and what people can do, and then there was a table all about being plastic free and the alternatives available from the shop in Portsmouth and the one in Kittery. The refill stores had given them samples of products that people can swap out from their sort of plastic dependent packaging. So, and they had a lot of good information there. So I wonder if I think it'd be great for them to be involved.
Yeah, I'll definitely reach out. I just communicated with them to find out how that went. So
Yeah.
I'll find out.
It was good. So from the committee, is there anybody? I know we're only half the committee, but
I can
If
commit to some of that time, and I think reflecting back on prior meetings, I think we decided that our best play is to continue to talk about implementation of the single-use plastics ordinance, and maybe even using that one-sheeter and blowing that up as a great tool. And if we were even to expand on that, just maybe even. I don't think we can explain plastics 1, 2, and 5 enough, just to explain what those are to folks, and that would be more than enough information to focus on. So yeah, you can put me down for at least half that time. And
Thank you.
Hopefully our other committee members that aren't here can meet me halfway. So.
okay.
So in terms of supplies,
Honestly, yeah.
Poster or
Yeah, and I can even work with, I can go to Staples and blow that thing up to a poster from your one-sheeter, frankly, is a great tool. It's got the QR code on it already. People can literally go straight there while they're at the AOA festival if they want to. And I'll rummage through my recycling to find a 1, 2, and a 5 and explain what they are.
it might be worth checking with Tricia at Public Works. I'm not sure if she was in your meeting with
She
Jay,
was,
but
yeah.
she had a display of the Recycle Right display.
Yeah, she
Right,
did.
at voting, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I wonder if
I'll
that's
take
still
that note.
available in
Yep.
the warehouse or somewhere.
Maybe she recycled it.
But she'll be there as well.
No, she
she's
cannot
not- she's on
come.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Last year she had
Yep.
great information.
Yep.
I'll check with her.
And I do still have the junk mail poster.
But we can use that
Okay.
as well, just to keep. And there's a QR code on that, isn't there?
There is,
Yeah.
and I checked it
I think it's still
recently,
working.
and it's someone, I mean, it's a Google.
Yeah,
It's
a good-
someone's.
Yeah, it's a document. Yeah.
But it still seemed functional,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
You said it was the 13th.
The 13th, yep,
Next
from
Saturday.
10 to 1.
13th May. Week Saturday. Thank you.
Okay, I'll check with her tomorrow.
And so table, are you all set with a table? Do you need,
I have a table.
We have a table.
Yep.
great.
I better start writing a supply list now. Why don't you and I have an email exchange tomorrow?
Yep,
Sort out what we need.
I've got a green recycle reuse table cover
Do you?
cloth. Yeah, I do.
All right. Of course you do.
Because I do. I can let you borrow.
Borrow it.
Yeah, as long as I get it back.
I'll reuse it.
Okay. Anything else about the LY Festival that anyone should know? It's May 13th, Saturday, 10 to 1 at the Library Founders Park.
at Founders
Okay.
Park, yep.
Other than directing people to the Exeter Community Forum page today, it looks like there's an osprey that already got in on the alewife. Did anybody see that picture that somebody posted of this osprey scooping up an
Oh,
alewife from the
yeah,
river?
yes.
Oh my God.
It was
what a
amazing.
picture.
Incredible.
No.
Just
Incredible
stunning.
photograph.
So apparently the festival's already
Wow.
started.
Yeah.
So anyway. first
Yeah, I did have someone
time.
reach out saying it's kind of late for this year, but next year we should do a call for artists of
Oh,
local art that's been taken. I forget, she named a couple different artists that often post on that page,
Yeah.
I think.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
The photographers who take those pictures are amazing with the eagles and everything that goes on the river. It's just fascinating. Yeah, and the seal.
So one exciting thing that's new this year is each table will have a stamp and participants will have a passport.
Great.
So as they visit your table, you'll stamp their passport, and then at the end, that passport can be turned in for a raffle to win a rain barrel. So,
Oh, super cool.
yeah.
Okay.
And the library is doing a kids activity right there at that kids art room. So
Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Are we using the same poster we had last year for advertising?
I redid it.
You
Yeah,
redid?
I have a new one.
Okay.
I should send that to
Yeah,
you.
please.
Send that, we'll
please-
circulate it.
Please share that,
yeah.
and then we can put that up. That'd be great.
Great. And I did send in a press release today. Hopefully. So if you're Facebook users, try to share the flyer, the event information.
Absolutely.
Through email, send
Yeah.
it on to family and friends. That would be great.
All right. Okay, moving on to the environmental film screening. I think prior to me going away, I had contacted PEA about doing a screening with their help when the students were obviously in session, because I think it was something that we had approached them a few years ago, but then due to COVID, we didn't get any further, and they have the space and the facility to do that. They were keen on doing it, and obviously I said it wouldn't unlikely to happen during Earth Week. So I have, since coming back, I did contact them again, and I haven't heard back on potential dates on when that can be happened. So I'll chase them up again.
Yeah, I
on
guess the
that.
question would be, is that something they have to get in before their session's over?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if worst cases, we can make it first thing in the fall as
Yeah.
well. Because my only concern would be, they can't be here but another 4 weeks at most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So promotion
June,
time's pretty
yeah.
tight, yeah.
Yeah, schedule's pretty crammed as you get telescopes.
And there's also potential for maybe screening it for the summer school students
great.
as well.
That's
a
Is
great-
another
Yep.
option as well to work, and then doing it in full for when PA's in session. So,
Agreed, yeah.
I will reach back out to them because I haven't heard back from them. So
And I do know that Bob Glowacki had offered, he was interested in kind of
Yeah.
redoing the film festival as well, so there's additional support through him.
yeah. Any updates on grants, Kristen?
I don't have updates on grants, no. So the one that we had initially looked at is not going to be viable for us. They won't give grants so their grants are issued to nonprofits, and our partnership with Team was great because they are a nonprofit, but because ultimately it's going on town property, it's not a match. So they can't use their funds that way. So I don't know. I'm just kind of in search of alternatives. There was the Walmart. They offer a grant, but it's really challenging to figure out how to actually apply for the grant, and I need to spend more time looking at that. But it does strike me that maybe this is something that we bring up through the budget process. You know, it's good to have grants, but it seems like such a barrier in terms of like having a good match for a grant. It's really a small amount of funding. I mean, we're talking $10,000. I know ultimately it'll be a facility that's owned by the town. So to me, I keep coming back to, I wonder if it's just something that we partner with some department and bring forward through the town budget
Yeah,
cycle.
I think it's also one of those things that, having the benefit of some of those stations out there now, and I know we've talked about, in fact, I did get a chance to speak with Greg at Parks about putting a QR code for a survey on there, and he's completely okay with that and happy to help us facilitate that. So I'd love to be able to roll into budget season with a reasonable amount of user data on the stations we have, and to help fortify a request, whether it's, just annualized budget or CIP, to get that done. And such a small amount, it's not hard to imagine it couldn't fall out of the general fund pretty easily. But it's just one of those things that when we can present the benefits through usage, that would help us a lot. So I agree. I think it should, I'd love to go into that meeting with like a couple $1,000s in a grant, but even if
Yeah.
we don't, it's not such an alarming amount, and it's got a strong benefit. So yeah.
Clearly, there's a constituency for these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've demonstrated that with your citizen petition, so
Yep.
you shouldn't be afraid of the regular process.
Okay, great.
Working it through the budget. Budget recommendation committee's going to pay attention. Select board's going to pay attention. You're part of the process, and you're fully invested in it, and your stakeholders as the Sustainability Advisory Committee. So don't be afraid of the process.
Yep. So I think we have, I think Bob starts reaching out to people in July to get the first couple of meetings going. So just to get stuff going. So we have maybe 2 meetings to put together an outline, and
Yeah. When do you put in your budget requests, Kristen?
Yeah, so I think it's sooner than that. I think it goes to the town manager first, so I believe that's in June.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe that's an item on the agenda for your next meeting.
Yeah,
What budget items do you want to request
yeah.
as part of the, budget process, which begins fairly early? Yeah. Is that too late if it's not the June meeting?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
I think it would be great for us to get together beforehand and have a list of those survey questions so that
Yeah.
at that meeting, we could initiate the surveys on the existing drinking water stations, water stations.
But again, just to highlight too, the drinking water stations there's a constituency for that, because it's really the second part of the eliminating single use.
Exactly.
It's a natural continuation, and I'm very interested in covering that cardboard bin out of the transfer station.
Yeah.
So if we can get some numbers for what that would cost,
Yeah.
and get that into the budget process, the BRC may just greenlight it. And the select board is very respectful of what the budget recommendation committee recommends.
Okay.
And don't forget, so you do have a budget line item, right? It was reduced, I think it started at $2,000, and then last year was reduced to $1,500. So, Chris, you had mentioned having some money to contribute toward it. There is funds. I think that if you go to, and that's presented through Dave's budget, but if we talk to Dave and encourage that to be bumped back up to its original allotment, and you have a list of items that you are planning to use it for, I think that you'll find support for it. It was just, it hadn't been used fully the first time it was
Right.
issued, so.
Is there a way to quickly turn around a spec on what it would cost to cover that cardboard?
Probably.
Yeah, I think we just have to get back with Jay real quick and just get the dimensions of the roll-off and, you know.
Let's do that. There'd be so much support for that.
Yeah.
It's a frustrating situation. I would zero in on that. That is such low-hanging fruit.
I just made a note.
And it's a revenue source,
Yeah.
if we can get it organized.
And we already have knowledge of the cost for the next water filling station. We have a relatively decent idea what that will cost. Obviously, there's variables on each location, but we have a pretty good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we do,
Let's go. Let's do it.
for the Swayze Park.
Yeah. Maybe then the only other thing we should do in a hurry, do you want to just pull a subcommittee together to get, work with Kristen to get really simple 4 or 5 questions. It's got to be easy to answer, and just zero in on what are those right 5 questions to put on the fountain, so we can, stick it on a website space and get it done.
Yep. Any volunteers?
I can do that.
Yep.
I can volunteer as well.
Is there any mileage in approaching any of like the larger businesses if they would contribute towards funding of fountains?
I suspect they would. I don't know. Yeah. I know Greg reaches out to local businesses for, the sports and as sponsors. He has a lot of sponsorship. I think there would be, And, the drinking fountains do become like a great place to
Advertise. Funded by, partly funded by,
right. Not that,
Okay.
Yep. And come up with a sponsor hit list also, yeah.
Okay. So shall I leave it up to you and Jackie to connect with Kristen with the questions?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I did have one thing to mention. So the Energy Committee has 2 students on it that are Exeter High School Environmental Club members. And at the last Energy Committee, they're proposing to do some trail work. We have conservation easement on the Exeter High School property, and so they want to do some trail cleanup work. And I thought, so I'm reaching out to the Conservation Commission to see if they want to volunteer. They offered 2 dates up. But I thought that might be a good opportunity for this committee as well to make connections with those students. So I can share the dates with you. So May 27th or June 3rd, it's a Saturday. I don't have times yet, but they would be interested in having a trail care day that day. She said that there's not a lot of major trees or anything that are down. There may be a few, but the teacher that works with them can run the chainsaw and take care of that. It's really just more cleaning up the down branches and refreshing the trail network. So if you're interested and one of those dates is preferable, let me know.
Okay.
But I think it would be a great opportunity to connect with that club.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Just the trails by the high school?
Yeah, it's kind of where the ropes course is. You know, like behind the tennis courts.
Okay, I've not spent any time back there. Didn't even know
It's
there
a
were.
beautiful area, a gorgeous wetland complex back there and everything. It's really nice.
So May 27th and June 3rd.
Yep.
Okay. Is either one or the other?
Yeah, those are the two dates that are available for the, for the school. But
Okay.
so far, I don't have I haven't met with Concom yet,
Okay.
but I don't have volunteers to help besides me.
Right. Any other business? No? Okay, motion to adjourn
I'll move that. Wait a second.
2015 on Tuesday. Next meeting is June 6th.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.